Alicia.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Candace. Hi, Baxter.
Hey. Wow.
Hey. Y'all sound like you worked really hard today. Look. Did you work hard today, Baxter?
Did I do what?
Did you work hard today?
Yes, I did.
You
and
sound
it was
like
a good, productive day.
Good.
It was a productive day. Sorry, Alicia, we didn't mean to interrupt your introduction. Please.
No interruption. This is not a formal evening.
Okay.
This is not a formal evening, but he said a word I like. Productive.
Okay.
We're all about productive over busy. So good job, Bax.
Yeah.
But hi, everyone. Alicia here, 828 Concepts, and I'm so excited to just talk about a new project that I've been working on. It recently got released, and we're going to jump into that shortly. But before we do, I brought in some good old friends and just an amazing couple who has just been such a blessing to me and my family's life. And I just wanted to chop it up with y'all too tonight, see how everything's going. So this is Baxter and Candace Porter the 7th. Did I get that right?
No.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done
Baxter Porter.
He's the 6th.
Candace the 6th. See?
Okay, I shouldn't have done that to you. That's my fault.
That's her fault, guys. You got that right? That's her fault.
That's her fault.
How are you guys doing?
Sorry, Alicia.
You guys doing all right?
We're doing great. How are you?
Yep.
I'm doing good. Hey, Andy. Hi, Booker. We got some company already. What's up, y'all?
Hello.
So, Baxter and Candace, you all have been married for how long now?
We will be married for 15 years in July. Fitting.
That's a long time. I can't even tell you where my mind was 15 years ago, but it wasn't on marriage. So I definitely commend you too.
I hate him. I do.
Look.
I cannot stand him, but it's okay. It's all right.
So if you are tuning in, let us know if you're in a relationship, if you're single, if you are dating with intention, wherever you fall, let us know. And if you are married, we want to know that too. So for Andy, put your accurate year, Andy. And for Booker, go ahead and let us know as well how long you've been married to Miss Tiffany. So we got some home team tuning in. So guys, 15 years, what would you say has been the most exciting thing about remaining married for 15 years?
I don't know. I guess it's kind of been an action adventure. Like, it's definitely been exciting. Ups and downs, goods and bads, highs and lows. Kids, growing family, dealing with the kids' issues. So yeah, it's definitely been exciting.
I love the passion. I love the passion that he puts around kids.
Yeah.
In his bones. What about you, Candace?
Let's see. I would say the thing that is the most exciting is just being that we've known each other for so long, right? We've known each other since we were 15 years old. And now that Baxter is going to be 40 in a couple of days.
No, I'm not.
Or I'm sorry, in a week. I don't know.
3 weeks, 2.5.
Love, it is not 2.5 or 3 weeks.
It's
so
2.5 weeks. It's not next Wednesday. It's the Wednesday after that.
Okay, he's going to be 40. And so I think that the exciting thing is just watching him grow, right? From really a boy to a man. That's really cliche. I really hate that I even said that.
You said it with confidence.
I did. I said it, but it's been really good to see him grow and to see him as a father and just to see him rock life. So yeah, I'm really that excites me.
Oh. And we just got to, as a friend on the sideline of your marriage, I just love how through twins, through in-laws, through job changes, through entrepreneur changes,
Help, Lord.
through so many changes, you all have remained, and I commend you all for that, because right now, even with the pressures of COVID, it ain't easy out here. It ain't easy. And we appreciate you all for enduring. But you know what? Let's jump into it.
Yes.
So we're here to talk about UpKeep, and UpKeep is dear to my heart. Yes, there it is. Oh, snap. Got some copies going on.
Yes.
UpKeep is dear to my heart because I remember going to, I was driving and that good old maintenance error message came on. And you know how we always want to like curse at it, like, dang you, it's never the right time for it. But I've grown to appreciate it because without it, like, how do you know, right? How do you know to check up? So this is kind of along the lines of that. And before we get into the details of the book, I want to know from this 15-year couple, prior to UpKeep, because I know UpKeep changed y'all's lives, but prior to UpKeep, like, what were you doing to assess your relationship? So how did you know if you were doing good, and were you aligned in that thought? Because sometimes we could think we're doing good and the other partner's like, I'm close to checking out. So how were you assessing your relationship prior?
Personally, myself, I would just be me, and then like because Candace and I have known each other so well, I can tell immediately when there's something wrong with her. And so like I basically would just like, do and be me until if I saw like there was something wrong with her. Or did that even make sense? Did that make sense what I just said?
I don't know.
I don't think it did. Or it makes me seem to be.
We can rewind if you want.
No, we can't. This is live.
Oh,
So like I didn't really it wasn't really a priority. Like UpKeep wasn't really a priority until like, we started doing UpKeep. I didn't like really notice what I was doing. I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. I wasn't intentional about the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm being more intentional.
Yeah.
That's honest.
Yes, love. Yeah. That was good. And I'm not even being fake about it.
Yeah, that was honest.
There was just a time in our marriage where we were not being intentional about it. I think we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And I think you probably need to scoot over just a little bit because you're coming out of the frame. Oh. Thank you. But we weren't necessarily being intentional, like he said. I think he said that about our marriage. And so we were just kind of going with the flow. You all right? Okay. Or something's wrong with you, so I'm gonna match your energy. You gonna give me a bad attitude, I'm gonna turn around and give you a bad attitude. But I think that as life goes on, and like Baxter said, these kids ain't wasting no time with trying to tap on our last nerve. So we have decided to eliminate a lot of the like the issues with ourselves, because we're putting a lot of attention on rearing children right now. So with UpKeep, it is really it allows us to really think through and talk through some things, right? In a deeper way. So I'll stop there.
Okay. All right. So I like where you're going with it. If you had to describe UpKeep in one word, what would it be besides UpKeep? How would you describe your experience using it?
For myself, I'll say useful.
Yeah, and I'll say meaningful. Because, like I said, it just brings out just different parts of conversation that you sometimes don't use, right? And even when we were doing our work in UpKeep, I had to take the attention off of myself sometimes, where I was like, Candace, you're not asking this, to start no trouble.
Right.
You're asking this to really inquire and like where you were in. And first of all, hold on, just before we go into this any further, I just want to talk about how beautifully done this is. I love I love the font. I love the just the way that it's laid out. I love the structure. And more importantly, I love that there are different, there's advice through the pages. Like for instance, this is the one that I really loved. I loved attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, mirror what you admire. Whoever unknown is, child, give it up for yourself.
Okay? Give it up for unknown.
Hello, because unknown did that. But I just wanted to just talk about just how beautifully done UpKeep is. So anyway, with that, I just wanted to say that it really, the reason why it's so meaningful is because it just challenges us to talk about different things in a deeper, non-surface way.
Love that. Love that. Baxter, anything you want to add?
No, that covered. Yeah, that was well put. Well put.
It was well put.
So in thinking of UpKeep, in the creation of it, I remember brainstorming, okay, what are like some of the top 10 areas that most impact relationships today? Not, a couple years ago, but what is impacting relationships right now? And how can we go about assessing them? I don't want to give away too much because I know some of the audience is like, oh my God, how do I get my hands on this book, right? But for you all, Candace, I'll start with you first and then you, Baxter. What category was most intriguing and or challenging for you to review?
Start.
Oh, she told me to start.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to get into the sex and intimacy.
Let's talk about it. Let me turn to that page so I can follow along with you.
If you look, it's right here under physical care. And we did do our work with sex and intimacy. And I was interested to hear some of the things that Baxter had to say. And the reason why this one kind of hit home for me is because, let's see, am I going to give away all my business right now?
No.
Look, no, yes. So I just know that sometimes when you are rearing kids and you're working, and like you said, Alicia, through entrepreneurial changes and life changes and body changes, look, I get up and my knee is hurting. I'm like, why in the world did it feel like my knee is still on the bed? Like, this is ridiculous. So there are things that happen sometimes that don't necessarily put me in the mood all the time, right? But to hear that Baxter, he still was able to say, well, for the most part, I'm okay. When we got to sex and intimacy is fresh and stimulating.
Look at Baxter. Wait, Baxter is like, yup, talk about it.
He said, so needless to say, we didn't score too high on that one. He said, well, it's always stimulating, but just trying new things and new ideas is a part that I am convicted of. Because yeah, like I said, with all the things, I just know that I was convicted in this area. So, but I'm so happy to know that through doing this particular part, that he doesn't necessarily feel slighted in this area.
Okay.
But there is also room for improvement in this area.
It's on your radar now, right?
Yes. And I love that word fresh, fresh, because it's like, you know what that means. So I was convicted in that area.
Okay. Now,
And that's right.
No, and it's supposed to provoke that, right? The good news is it happened in the comfort of your own home, right? Like not in front of a third party or a 17 party. It happened right in between the intimacy of your own relationship. So it's good to have that awareness. It's really what it's to provoke. So I'm glad it did that very thing. Sure, it might have been a little uncomfortable, but knowing is the power. Right.
But you want to know what, Alicia? I think that sometimes we know, right? Like, I didn't walk into this like, I'm the best. Like, no, you know that there's an issue. But it was putting that issue in front of my face, saying, hey, girl, keeping it fresh and stimulating. You have work to do in that area. So it was just annoying.
Oh. Well, I'm thank you for your transparency.
Yes, always.
Now, Betsy, before I go to you, I just want to touch on the rating scale. So Candace touched on it, and I'm holding it up like y'all could really see it, but I'm just going to explain that we took a different approach with the rating scale. We wanted to do a 1 to 4 rating scale, 1 being, below expectations, or just, the behavior might be neglected. And a 4 would mean exceeds expectation and you master that behavior. And the reason why we didn't want to do a 1 to 5 is because a lot of times when people gravitate to the 3, it doesn't tell you anything, right? Like you don't know, like, well, which one is it more of? And, I feel like the 3 is almost like an scapegoat. So we got rid of it. Got rid of the 3 altogether, and the 1 to 4 rating scale allows you to get a better understanding of where you and your relationship fall. So I'm glad that you were able to successfully rank that category, and I'm sure it's going to be a part of your action plan.
Yes, but Alicia, I didn't get any 1s, so.
Hey. That's good. Even I scored a 1. So you're doing really good.
Not in that area, you didn't.
Not in that area, but Baxter, so about you. Not in that area.
No.
Baxter, talk to us. What area, what subject or what category was most insightful for you?
All the categories were useful, but the one that I want to talk about a little bit is the supports category.
Okay.
And support stood out for me just because, especially in this past couple of years, just with this pandemic, our family went through kind of a shift. We just had a shift, like, things, areas that we had been building for years just fell apart. And so support was very important during that time. Just like myself, like supporting Candace and what she was doing in her business, like trying to keep Bonding to the Beat still alive. And then, just immediately shifting. I was impressed with it. I remain to like with each and every passing day, remain impressed with Candace's resilience and just like ability. She showed me stuff that I didn't even know that she was capable of. I didn't know she had the capacity. And so, like, I'm just really impressed, and like she supports me. I had yeah, things literally fell apart. Like in both
the business died.
The business died. I mean, like I shifted positions and like had to learn a brand new like topic. Brand line, and so she supported me through that, and like we just support we have high marks in the support category because we are very supportive of each other. We have been breaking up the week with the twins, putting the twins down so that like neither one of us is going crazy, being respectful and mindful of each other's time, so stuff like that. So support was very that stuck out to me.
Absolutely. I just want to say something really quick. One thing that I do UpKeep kind of helped me highlight about the support category of the two of us is that we really do encourage one another. Like Baxter's told his story before, he's been sober for 2 years now, and we thank God for his sobriety. But just the encouragement that needed to go into him with that, right? So I needed to make sure that I was building him up in ways that he probably felt that he was not built up, because he was, he was in the midst of changing things, and things were shifting in him, right? Which is a beautiful thing, but it's also a hard thing when you're going through it, not only for him, but also for the family. So when we talk about support, it was the support of making sure that Baxter was good, making sure the kids were good as he's going through his changes. And just even like he said, over the last few years, the thing that has kept me, like, when I was in the process of closing down my business, the thing that kept me was the support. Like, when I tell you, like, that was it was a major shift. But what he kept on saying to me, he kept on saying, Candace, I support you. He kept saying that. Candace, just know that I support you. I support you. And at first it was making me mad because he kept on saying it. And I was like, are you like a broken record or something? Because, I was mad. I was going through my own stuff.
Yeah.
But then he kept on saying it. And then he kept on saying, Candace, just know that I support whatever you do. Candace. And the more that he said it, the more that I was like, he does support what I do. And I felt that, right? So I will say that in this support area, aids financially, because like I said, things turned upside down.
Yeah.
And whereas I was able to carry a lot, it came to, Candace, what do you need help with this month? And I was like, oh my goodness,
That's motivation enough to go get fresh. Okay. Those are trigger words for me in the right way.
No, truly, right? So I mean, yes, and that is a reason to go and get fresh.
That is.
But just hearing,
get fresh tonight.
See,
she is.
Spot. Why are you putting me on the spot right now?
Y'all started talking about it.
No, he's like, wrap this up.
No, I think is just to piggyback on what Kenneth is saying. I feel it's very entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Honestly, it's not for me. It's definitely not for me. I do not have the patience, and so like I felt it wasn't. I felt and feel that it is important to remind Candace that I do support her, because I mean, hell, I know that even if I don't meet my numbers, I'm still gonna get a check. I might not get a commission, I'm gonna get a check. But like Candace, she didn't even know where her next check's coming from. And so I felt it's important to let her know that I support her, just to so she doesn't feel all is lost. That's yeah. It is also a little bit for me as well. I have to say it out loud. I support you. I do.
Yeah. You said you had to say it out loud that's real though. That's really real. And I do want to say that in our life, a lot of the times where things are designed to take marriage down, those are the things that build Baxter and I up. And I know that you talked about superpowers.
I did, yes.
So here you say, what is your superpower? What makes us unique? What is our greatest strength? What are our reasons for committing to each other? And I do believe that, I know that when we were in Georgia, we said that our superpower was endurance, right? And that's exactly what it is. The things that can wipe marriages out are usually the things that fuel us to keep on going.
Absolutely.
Press
That's
on.
incredible.
It does.
And I got to say, if I could just commend you, Baxter, like at a time where everyone is turning to the bottle, the fact that you are able to withstand that in such a time that's been as challenging as this pandemic, like that is like super duper uber strength. So I just want to commend you for your determination and your and sticking with it. We are all proud of you.
Yes,
And while I'm on my fellow Black male, I just want
That's
to.
all, honestly, that's all God. I had nothing to do with my deliverance. Like, I'm dead serious. I had nothing to do with that. But I do appreciate it. But that was all God. Like that. It was there one day and then it was not. That's God.
Yeah. And to say that that was right at the beginning of the pandemic, that was 2020.
Wow.
And so yeah, so we're grateful. We're really, really grateful that like you said, it was a time where some people became alcoholics. And so I really do commend those who were able to stay sober during that time.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was drinking, I was drinking to, like, forget about my issues. Or just to deal with them, just put them in the back. So, like, alcohol tricks you to make you think that it's not a big deal, and maybe it won't be there when you get back, when you come back to reality. But like, it was surreal, like dealing with my issues sober, because I mean, they're still there, but like, now I'm like, I deal with them more effectively, and like I just don't know how. I don't know how I like went as long as I went, like, thinking like that this was a viable alternative to just dealing with life. So yeah.
I'm so glad you said that out loud, because you just never know who's in the middle of that, and having that same thought, and you just never know who you could be pulling out just by sharing. So thank you for that. Baxter, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, absolutely. I've said it before, and I've on Candace's page, and I'll say it again, like, for real. If you need like just guidance and direction, like, how I did it, or like, just support, somebody to talk to, hit me up on Facebook. I'll definitely give the support to the best of my capacity, because I know how it is, and I'm not judgmental because I've been there. And like, people be wanting to get out of it, and you'll never know it until you deal with it. You'll never know the struggle until you've dealt with it. Yeah.
And we need more safe spaces for us. I won't get into that. That's a whole nother topic. But thank you, Baxter, for being willing and available.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as a man, Baxter, because just historically speaking, usually something like this, women would gravitate to and try to initiate with their boyfriends or their husbands and say, hey, babe, we should try this. For the fellas that may be watching, who haven't purchased yet, but it's all good, they still have a chance. But let's say you're in the barbershop, or let's say you're with your boys, or like, what would your conversation around upkeep be to them? To the fellow men, because I know y'all talk about things in like 5 words or less. So I'm just curious to know how you would.
Upkeep. It's cool, bro.
It's cool, bro.
I mean, I'm y'all are joking, but I mean,
I'm not laughing.
True.
It wouldn't be an in-depth conversation. Well, yeah, it's a very good book. It's definitely a good. So you would open up this conversation with a reference about a check oil light, and that's kind of how I look at upkeep. It's just like, it's just a check light, like it's just a check. Hey, are you doing this? Have you been doing that? Have you been considering this? Have you been considering that? So it's like, a nice little reminder book to, like, pull yourself out of the hustle and bustle of what you're going through in your own mind, and just like, put a little focus on your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever.
And yourself, how you're showing up.
That's what I would say in the barbershop.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. I can anticipate some plugs coming from your end. Appreciate it, Bax. Let's see. There's just so many questions that I can ask, but I do want to be mindful of your time. And if you're joining in, let us know if you have any. We have Andy who's shooting you out, Baxter. He's just again very proud of you.
I
For
appreciate it.
what you're providing and what you've been able to accomplish. So thank you for that. When was there anything that was challenging about UpKeep?
Yeah, I think the thing that was challenging for me is knowing that I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying right now, but okay. For instance, in the communication part, okay.
You sound like you had that book marked.
Okay. Now, I know that Candace Lynette Porter is someone who, if something is wrong, I will say what's wrong with me.
Yeah, just not that
See?
day.
See?
I'm sorry. I'm
And
sorry. I wasn't
so-
supposed to cut you off. I wasn't supposed
Exactly.
to cut you off. I'm sorry.
See, now we're getting into it. So I have been practicing lately because there were times back in the day
Thank you.
where
Back in the day is last week.
no, it was not. There were times back in the day where there was something that would bother me, but I didn't necessarily speak up on it because I was mad, and I probably just wanted to be mad. Like, no, don't mess with me, don't talk to me. But in my time now, I have tried to be more mindful of saying what's wrong with me at the time. But for some reason, when we were doing UpKeep, Baxter told me that I am still like I was back then.
I didn't give you a 1. I gave you a 2 or a 3 because I mean, I have noticed improvement, but still there are times when I have to wait a day or 2.
Now, out of his mouth came, you don't always tell me
Always.
when it happens.
Key word.
I know. But see, the crazy thing is, Alicia, he has now adopted not telling me what's wrong when it happens. So I thought that there was a little let's see, there was a lack of truth in the communications department because Baxter told me that I'm the person that waits a couple of days to say something's wrong, addresses concerns in a timely fashion. I thought your girl was doing good. I thought I was exceeding. But according to Baxter, I'm not. And I was like, really? So in this communication, I think that we can do better because actively listens, eliminates distractions, knows and communicates love languages effectively. We're all right. Creates a safe space to be heard, vulnerable, and valued.
I feel like I can vent safely among you.
Among you.
And this is the one that got me. Uses appropriate tone, delivery, and word choices. So I am married to a sarcastic person. Okay. And a lot of the times it comes out in our conversations and our dialogue, and it really makes me upset. Oh, see? This guy is laughing. So yes, the communication issue, it was a little challenging for us. Needless to say, on my end, I'm thinking, okay, I'm being communicative. I'm listening. I'm giving feedback.
Yeah.
I'm that. But according to Baxter,
like, not quite.
Yeah. I haven't adopted not letting Candace know when there's something going on with me.
You said you have not adopted that?
I have not adapted that. And so where the challenge comes. So if there is something going on and like, you know, Candace, I know Candace has no idea what's going on. I'll tell her about it immediately. Let her know what's going on. If something happens, let's just say she does something or says something slick, and then like it upsets me, and I just like, you know, when I get upset, I just go to myself. I just go be alone by myself. And I'll stay that way. I'll stay that way because I know for a fact that Candace knows why this is me. I mean, I don't know if she, like, you know, we were talking about it earlier today. And so like she's telling me, I don't know, but I don't believe that. Anyway, but I like like the stuff that I feel like she knows that she did something and then she's asking me what's wrong. I'll say nothing because in my mind, you know what's wrong with me. You just want me to say it, and I don't want to say it because you know.
Because he's being no, because that's petty. That's petty stuff.
Yeah,
this is why we need. This is why we need to do our communication.
Absolutely.
Because, so the good news is, at least in the communication, because if you ask almost any couple or any person, you know, what is the number one behavior? What's the number one most important thing in a relationship? 8 out of 10, they're going to say communication, right? But what does communication look like? There's so many components built into communication. It's your nonverbals, it's your word choices, it's your body language, it's the things you actually say. Like, are you building up or are you tearing down? Like, there's a way that you could be constructive without coming for somebody's knees, right? So the goal of this is to bring out those very things on assessing how we're doing, because to Candace's point, you could think that you're showing up as a 4, but there's opportunities for you to become that. And probably my favorite thing about UpKeep, it also highlights the areas that we're not celebrating enough, right? So when you were talking about just the level of support that your relationship has been able to foster in the most difficult time of our lives, support was when and no offense to my ladies watching, y'all know I love you. However, I did survey twice as many men in the creation of this book. I surveyed twice as many men on purpose. And my reasons for that is the industry is full of things that women think. I personally believe Black men are underrepresented. And I wanted to know their thoughts a little bit more than knowing our thoughts, because our thoughts are shared whether we want to know them or not. So I digress. But in surveying men, all of the men that I talked to, support was in their top 3 categories. Some didn't even mention like sexual.
Wow.
Support outweighed it. Support outweighed it.
Wow.
So that got me thinking about why we're not talking about support more often. And it goes both ways. It's not just the woman feeling, supported and empowered, but it's how to make sure we're still remaining supportive to our man as we are trying to progress in our careers, in our businesses, as mothers. We can't leave them out, because what happens when you do that? Like the opposite of UpKeep. So anyway, let me get off of that. But it was important to hear the male point of view, because I just wanted to make sure they were represented, because they don't share their thoughts enough. They may not have the space to share their thoughts a lot. And so it was important for us to listen to what that need is. But in doing so, it also benefits us. It's not like it's one-sided, because Candace, you definitely talked to some areas in UpKeep that has definitely benefited you as well. So I just wanted to add that little piece in there. Any final thought? What else? What else are your final thoughts? Oh, wait, no, I have a question. Time out. So I know we talked a lot about marriages and people leveraging this in committed relationships, but what would you say to a single person who picks this up, or someone maybe dating and picks this up? Like, what would you say to them? And Baxter, don't be like, put it down, it ain't for you. Like, what would you say to someone who maybe is desiring to be in a relationship but is not in one today?
Personally, I would say, did you want to say something first, Candace?
No, you go ahead.
All right. Personally, I would say whoever you are pursuing, whoever you're dating, maybe like, initiate these things early so that if it goes anywhere, the relationship, if it goes anywhere, you've already established a foundation on, keeping the relationship upkept. Like, start initiated early. If you just, if my friend's dating a girl, hey, take this book and start initiating those steps right now. Ooh. You want to read it together because, it's just relationships just built on, like, so many relationships these days, it just seems are just built on sand. Like, they're just like, people are like divorcing left and right. Just relationships aren't working. It's just not working for whatever the reason. I feel bad for, like, I know single people probably say they feel bad for married folks. I feel bad for single people. Like, seems rough out there. So whoever, like, if you think that this is going to go anywhere, take this book and, just start applying these steps right now.
Good point. Candace?
On this page, it says words can either build up or tear down, choose wisely. And so the reason why I am really, really excited about this UpKeep and like this needs to be a conference. It needs to be therapist, marriage therapist. Like, this needs to be a staple in the life of marriages and relationships and even self work, right? Because I think that if we don't know how to effectively do the things that are in this book, then it's going to be hard to effectively do it with our mate when they come. And so like you guys said, speaking to marriages that are falling apart, well, I know that Baxter and I are kind of playing around with our communication and all this, but there are really married people who are not talking, and they're not, or if they're talking, it's, did you get the kids? What's for dinner? And it's just super, it's just transactional. Absolutely. But the thing that I love about UpKeep is that it really does initiate some in-depth conversation, and conversation that you're not going to just like talk about for 1 minute and be like, all right, next, like, let's move on. But it really does give couples the opportunity to share with one another. What's your thought process? Because honestly, Alicia, when I started it, I was asking it from, how do I explain this? I was like, Baxter, do you do this? And then I said, oh, no. Let me try to. I said, Baxter, do you think that I am this to you? Do you think that I communicate effectively? So I had to early on switch around the way that I was even asking the question, because I was trying to put it on him like, well, do you do this? Do you do that? And I was like, no, actually, tell me what you think about me as your wife, right? And so I'm just really happy to have this in our marriage, and just to kind of kick off like our 15 years, because this is really, truly, truly, truly a tune-up that is needed in the lives of spouses. Because what do we hear all the time? I didn't know she was unhappy. Oh,
we just grew apart.
we just grew apart. Well, in Upkeep, my practical interactive guide to preserving love and connection, in Upkeep, if we are doing this the way that we're supposed to be doing it, it has a page that talks about us care. Okay. So us care says, hey, how are we doing? How are we doing? And with that, are we keeping our relationship fun, playful, and preserving the friendship? And so I think that when we're asking these questions, when we did good with this too, Baxter. We did good with us care. Although we kind of we're not doing good on our date nights and getaways, but that was we were able to talk about it, right? Like, no, we're not doing good. So what can we do to change that? But if you just go to us care, you'll be able to talk about the things that you may be missing in your partner. Like the things that you're overlooking and the things that you think you're doing well, right? But it's really like, no, I don't feel like we're having fun anymore in our marriage. Like we're just not having fun anymore. And so, like I said, if we just keep this handy, right? If we keep this handy and if we check it as much as we check our social medias, or, or check in with our girlfriends who ain't married and trying to get advice from them, and just kind of checking in with the wrong people. But if we're able to check in with Upkeep and one another, I don't think we can go wrong. I'm sorry.
I could have made that whole thing into like an infomercial.
Don't worry, you can. Yeah.
That was awesome. I'm so glad that this is providing value. That's the very thing I prayed for. Yeah. So we could end, but I would be remiss if I don't say to those watching, Candace, Baxter, I know y'all don't have this concern, but in the event you have an idea, if you have an idea that could better the lives of other people, especially, don't sleep on that. You just never know who, because someone is in need of the very thing that you are contemplating on creating and executing on. And it won't be easy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this was a breeze. As a matter of fact, I compare it all the time to being in labor and giving birth.
Yeah.
But there's something about not just preserving our relationships, but giving the next generation. And this is where I can get emotional, y'all. Y'all pray for me, because Justin KK, they talk about
you.
This is the part where we can begin to give the next generation some sort of framework to reference, to be in a better situation relationship wise than we were. Our parents did the best they could with what they had. We're able to take that, make it better for the next generation. So that's what I want to encourage you all on. For anyone watching, you can get your copy of Upkeep at 828concepts.com/crafted experiences. You can also just Google it and find the link to the book patch to order your copy. It's so needed. And what's great about this is that you could do your tune-up every 6 months to a year. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend it. So for the porters, I know y'all did yours recently. I'll be checking in to make sure y'all do y'all's checkup in, some months from now. But yeah, let's keep this thing going. But any final words?
Baxter, you have any final words?
Yeah, I'm glad you did this, Alicia. Thank you.
Oh.
I think it's useful to me. It's useful to us. I definitely think it'll be useful to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alicia, I'll just say thank you for your transparency. I just want people to understand that the first sentence is divorce taught me a lot. So this is not coming from just kind of a space where you just kind of pulled some stuff out of the air and you kind of put together concepts that may or may not be parallel with what you've gone through in life, but to know that you've walked in the shoes of a failed marriage, right? And now you are in the shoes of a beautiful marriage. And it is because of the life that you live, right? Through what you've produced in this book, Alicia. So I just want to tell you, thank you for birthing this. Thank you for saying yes to the calling. And thank you for recognizing that you did have something down on the inside of you that can help someone, and not only someone, but a multitude of people. So thank you for UpKeep. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for just being transparent and open and honest with us, because that just sharing your story means a lot. So you guys, if Alicia said it before, but listen, go and get UpKeep. Do not slack on your marriage, y'all. It's not cute out here. It's just not cute out here. So why not do the necessary work with the person that you love? It's not too late, right? It's not too late to start again. I'm literally telling you, we've had to start again several times. But if we had this in our hands, I think that our process could have been a little smoother. So Alicia, thank you for having us on. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys. And to everyone that tuned in, have a great evening and talk with you soon.